In this video I'm doing an unboxing and review of an Echo CS-352 chainsaw. This model has a 34cc engine with a 16-inch bar. And my main reason for choosing this model is that at just over 8 pounds it's really light and easy to handle. So first thing out of the box here, you get some 2-stroke oil. And of course you also get the instruction manuals. And it also comes with one of these T-wrenches, as well as the kick guard that goes on the end of the bar. Right out of the box, the saw is pretty much assembled and ready to go. Unfortunately, at the time of recording this portion of the video, Florida was preparing to get hit by a major hurricane, so my only option was to stay inside and cheer for some trees to fall. And just to flip to one useful page in the manual here that will hopefully save somebody some trouble, there is this portion that talks about what types of fuel you should use. Obviously no diesel fuel here, but it sounds like the manufacturers are also not very big fans of anything containing ethanol. It looks like Echo does not approve of using either E15 or E85 ethanol fuel. They do, however, approve of gasoline that contains up to 10% ethanol, but it sounds like what they really want to push you towards using is 93 octane that is ethanol free. And they conveniently sell ethanol free 93 octane as this Echo Red Armor product, and it's pre-mixed with the 2-stroke engine oil. And normally I would agree with buying this kind of thing, but this stuff is really expensive. For 1 gallon of the stuff, it's $25, where if you just buy Echo's 2-stroke oil and then a gallon of gasoline to mix it with, you'll pretty much always come out well under $10. I guess if you buy this pre-mixed stuff, you also get this can that you can use, but I don't know, it seems like a scam. Although I don't always see people using these, I am going to install the kick guard on the end of the bar here. Using a chainsaw can be dangerous, especially when you start to get kind of fatigued. This video makes a pretty good case of why you should use one of these. And the kick guard includes this little metal shroud here, as well as the nuts and bolts to mount it. The kick guard just fits on the end of the bar here, and there's a little notch in the metal that kind of holds it in place. And you just thread the nut onto the bolt here and hand tighten it down as far as you can go. And then use a wrench to tighten it down an additional 1/8 of a turn. So after the hurricane blew over, I finally had a chance to try it out. The first thing I'm going to do here is put the bar oil in. One thing to note is that the bar oil is not included with the saw, so you'll have to remember to pick this up separately. I just used a funnel here and then poured it in until it looked like it had enough. The next thing I did was to create the 2-stroke mixture here. Since I'm in Florida, a lot of stations down here sell boat gas, which is ethanol free, so that's what I'm using here. And for the fuel mix, I just poured it in there until it looked like it had enough. And then button everything up. And I primed it a few times until I could see the fuel, and turned off the kill switch, and put the chain brake on. And then I began the painstaking task of trying to get this thing to pull start for the first time. I can't give an honest recollection of how many times I must have pulled on this thing, but it was definitely a lot, and I tried it with and without the choke, and with and without the brake, made sure that I had the kill switch off, but I'm going to chalk up this initial difficulty to it being an out-of-the-box cold start. Eventually I did get it going, but I messed up the recording, so I completely missed that triumphant moment. But after that, it's been smooth sailing with this thing. Since then, it started on the first pull for me every time. I believe the type of wood I'm cutting here is a water oak, but the saw was plenty powerful and it went right through it with no problem. The tree had been dead for a while, so the wood was a little bit on the dry side. And just to wrap the video up here, this is one of the thicker logs that I had to cut. And you can see that it's not quite as wide as the bar, so this is probably only about 10 or 12 inches. But again, it cut right through it with no problems. And this is just a clip of later that same day after the saw had a chance to cool for a bit. I went out and pulled it and made sure it could start on the first try. So I've only done a little bit of work with this thing so far, but at this point I can say that I am happy with it. It's insanely light and it was powerful enough to make it through all of the logs that I had to section up with no problem. And other than the initial difficulties with getting it started right out of the box, I haven't had any problems with it stalling out while I'm using it or while it's idling. So that's it for this video. Hope it was helpful if somebody out there is in the market for a saw and just wanted to do a little research before dropping money on one. Hit the like button if this information was helpful, and thanks for viewing.